And we're off, I believe. It is 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles. And it's Friday, June 6th, AD 2025. The lines are filling up already. I will get to your calls. We're going to have a loosey-goosey, the Hake Report. I've been having a habit of saying the Hake Report show. Isn't that interesting? Thank you, Jesse Lee, rating the stream. I'm live on punchy.tv. What's up, YouTube guys? Hold on, here. What's up, Willie Powell, TG, Scrap the Planet, David? Hey, Agent 48, whom Karen wants to ban. Thor Mode, Everblazer, Threeverblazer, Kevin, hey. Winston, Mr. Pink, William, JLP Raid. The lines are full. I will get to your calls. I have a little bit of news going on. You know, Elon Musk and Donald J. Trump are fighting. That's not the news that I'm going to get to, but we can talk about it. I don't care. We can talk about it. It's amusing. It's interesting. It's mess. It's exciting. It's drama. It's terrible. Meanwhile, there's these phony judges doing, in my opinion, phony things. And some of them are getting some pushback from it. So that's cool. I think it's cool. What's up, Southern Skies, Commander Kim, Age of Inversion, Jules, T-Flying Monkey. Oh, let me refresh. Jim in Alaska and Nicole are the faithful punchy.tv viewers / chatters. Long suffering. Good morning. Yes, in Alaska, it's an hour behind us, right? It's 8 in the morning in Alaska, I believe. I don't know how many time zones there are over there. But what else is going on? Oh, you know, just to touch briefly on some of the news stuff going on is... Oh, by the way, nothing that you hear or see on this show should you believe, by the way. Little quick disclaimer thing. Don't believe or... No. You don't have to play anything. Yeah, don't believe or don't believe anything that you see on the show or hear. Even from Hake himself, although Hake does try to be honest, but Hake has not perfect verbal IQ. And so I don't even express myself right. So I don't even represent myself. It's true. And it definitely doesn't represent Bond or JLP. I represent me, you represent you, and you may even misrepresent that because you don't know you. You don't know yourself. But, yeah, so there's no endorsement implied for Bond, JLP, the network, the other hosts, or the platform on which you're watching. General information and entertainment. Take everything with a grain of salt. We don't know what the truth is. Okay? And let's lay off the personal attacks and accusations and a little bit of nastiness is okay, but take it easy. Take it easy. You know what I mean? Jelly bean. Yes, I do, tennis shoe. Okay, so I think this may be... Oh, no. It's not quite right yet. Jumping the gun. No wonder I couldn't hear anything. I'm like, how come I'm not hearing anything? I will also get to your super chats if you'd like to super chat. It is buymeacoffee.com/a JLP Talk. We're looking from the top of the notch, and you're hearing my voice all loud. What? Oh, yeah. I visited the top of the notch in Mount Baldy, California. Beautiful area. Look, if you're watching the video feed. Is that right? Trump's first term, his 100 days celebration with a bunch of people who have been scattered.
Hey, guys.
Me trying to talk to you guys. Terrible. Oh, and by the way, don't pay attention to the snake pit, or at least don't be swayed by the snake pit. All right? do what you want, of course. What's up, pilled viewers?
Well,
Hey. Anyway, guys, let's just get right on with the
nice, huh?
show.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys! I hope you're enjoying the AJ Gallardo. I know I do. Gallardo, last name doxed. Original theme song of the Hake Report. I love it. So real, so fresh, so nice.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. I have my facts versus truth t-shirt on because what we're after is the truth. We don't care about your piddly little facts. You get that? Evil is still real. We don't care about your facts. We're for the truth. Which he's for the truth too, I think. And yeah, so brothers fighting. No, stop it. Mama Hake. Mama with so-called good hair. So anyway, listen to this snake report. Don't be swayed by Hake. That's right. I would like to get right to a few calls here right off the bat. David in Ocala, Florida, was, as I recall, a priority. Yesterday I wasn't able to get to him. David, thanks for calling and holding, man. What's up?
What's happening?
Hey, chilling.
It's gonna be a crazy conversation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man. I got some crazy stuff for you here.
Okay.
First off, I got some Mexicans next door building a fence for my next door neighbor, you know, taking all the white people's jobs. Okay. You notice that? You notice how all these immigrants done took everybody's job? The white people can't get a job no more.
I have noticed that they have taken over many areas of work, including like the white and black teenagers, McDonald's, and Jack in the Box jobs.
Right. All those jobs. So
Shout out.
I didn't call about that. That
Yeah.
just went down just a few minutes ago. I called because yesterday I wanted to bring up. There's something that white people are sick of.
Stay
and,
close. Do me a favor. Stay close to your phone and speak up loud and clear, just in case you're not. Thanks.
Can you
That's sounding
hear me better now?
I think so. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you might be having phone trouble over there or some kind of trouble. I heard it sort of sounded messed up. Anyway.
Okay.
There was a black woman in Pensacola, Florida, back in 23, hanging outside the Circle K, panhandling. So the white manager or cashier lady goes out there and tells her, "Hey, you can't do this no more." So this lady goes, I don't know how she gets this, but she gets a can of gasoline. This is on film. Gets a can of gasoline, comes in, throws it all over the woman, and sets her on fire.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. And that's what people are sick of seeing, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And,
I
what?
did not hear about that. And that happened in 2023, according to what you're
Yeah, the
telling
lady's
me?
name was Betty McFadden.
Did
And she had been out to California, too, and she ended up in Florida like a week later or something like that.
the suspect ended up in Florida?
Well, yeah, they gave her like life. They put her in jail for life.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Luckily, the lady healed up pretty good considering the situation.
Yeah, over in Palestine, Texas, maybe a couple of years before that, I guess. I don't remember exactly. There was a black dude who put some lighter fluid and set a white woman or somebody, worker, gas station, store worker, shop worker, on fire while trying to robbing the place. And that woman survived and is doing okay, I think, as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty crazy stuff, man.
Well, that's what when the Bible said in the last days, the love of many would wax cold. That's what he's talking about, okay? I mean, because who in their right mind do stuff like that? Anyway, you had a caller that called in, and, I mean, you'll figure out who it is, or I'll mention it. But anyway, there's people that, do you realize that you got what's called undercover racists out there? Do you understand what I mean by that?
Not necessarily. Do you mean blacks who are racist against whites, or
whites and blacks? But a lot of blacks were undercover racists when I grew up. Okay, so what they would do is they would act like they were your friend.
Yeah.
To your face.
Right.
And then when you walked away, they'd say, "I hate that honky."
Yeah.
Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or reverse. The white guy would do the same thing to the blacks. Now, I told you before, most of these die-hard super racists, they were from the South anyway. Anyway, these people have died off, okay? The last of them are those, like, 3 dudes that chased that black kid down in the neighborhood and, shot him with a shotgun.
Whoa. Was that recent?
No, you remember the kid up in Georgia that was running around a neighborhood or something
like
that. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure
yeah, the Ahmaud Arbery.
Yeah, right.
You thought those were racists?
Well, those guys are what I'm talking about. The age, their father, them.
The father,
they're pretty
and
much dying out.
Roddy.
Yeah, they're dying out. But most of these people were a little bit older than me, so they're like 70 or 75 now. So they're dead, most of them. They died already from smoking cigarettes.
Okay.
So that's why they had to bring Obama in to ramp this thing back up again and get everybody hating each other.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
And listen, a black man did not discover fiber optics. Okay.
Yeah.
They say it's an Indian dude, and this is where I'm gonna get crazy with you on this.
Okay.
Fiber optics supposedly came from that UFO that crashed in 47 in Roswell that they took to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. That's where, if you notice, since 1947 and just go up from 47 to 97, when you got the internet and cell phones, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Look how fast technology increased in 50 years.
That is a great. That is a great contrast, 1947 to 1997.
Right. Check it out. Okay.
Or even just 1997 to 2027. Yeah, to now.
Right.
Another huge, crazy jump.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what they say that happened, okay, because I look at a lot of stuff, was that supposedly Truman made some deal with these aliens, okay, for technology.
Oh.
That's what they say. And if you notice,
who's they? Who's they? Who's saying that Truman made a deal with the aliens from outer space?
Yeah, they're not really aliens; they're interdimensional beings. But if you go look at, there's footage of these UFOs flying over the White House, like back in the 50s, supposedly. I mean,
Okay.
I've seen it before.
Yeah.
Whether they're UFOs or not, I don't know. But anyway, so what they supposedly did was it gave them authorization to abduct humans. Okay, and listen, these people that are supposedly getting abducted and everything like that. I mean, we're talking lawyers, doctors. We're talking highly educated people that have to come out and say, "Hey, I woke up in my bedroom and there's 3 little guys standing by my freaking bed, and the next thing I know, I'm floating out the window." So what these people believe, and I sort of, maybe agree, is that they're making hybrids. and these people are going to show up during the Great Tribulation. And see, I told you I was going to get a little crazy with you, but the fiber optics thing is what just opened this whole thing up, the whole conversation up.
So the fiber optics, what's the connection to the fiber optics? Just that
the technology and the contract with the government versus these aliens. You can go all the way back to like the Area 51 thing, and these underground supposedly bases, and just blah blah blah. I mean, you've seen the footage of the craft that they showed on CNN years back, where they got the F-18s, fighter jets, got them on the radar, right? So what are those?
I don't know. I'm not really.
Nobody really knows.
I don't tend to give credence to this stuff because people's minds play tricks on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they tend to believe whatever they want, they tend to believe whatever they're inclined to believe,
Mm-hmm.
and people are inclined oftentimes to believe stuff that's not true.
Yeah, well, I don't want to talk. We don't need to talk about this really no more. But I want to tell you something that happened.
Let me ask though: do you think that they're telling the truth? The people who say that they've been abducted and stuff like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't put myself out there like that unless I really something like that really happened. I mean, there can't be that many psychotic people. You get what I mean?
I think there can.
Coming out with this stuff.
And do you believe that Truman met with interdimensional beings?
I don't know. I just don't believe they're aliens. I believe they're interdimensional beings.
Which is to say demons or angels or something to that effect?
Yeah, they're fallen angels is what I believe, and they masquerade themselves as aliens because they want people to think they're coming from some, Zeta Reticuli instead of what they really are. You get what I mean? Because, anyway, I don't want to freak you out no more about that. But I will.
I'm not freaked out. I'm just interested in I just want to be clear on what you're saying and what you believe to be true as opposed to what people are claiming.
Well, just think, okay? In the Bible it says that a third of the angels get cast down and Satan gets cast down.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that he's been cast down yet, okay? I believe he's hanging out in the second heaven, but they're going to get cast down. And if a bunch of alien the angels come down, and they say they're from another place, okay? You got what I'm saying? They say they're from some Orion or wherever they want to say they're from.
Uh-huh.
These people will believe it with all the movies that are out, and they'll say that they're gods, and they'll deceive these people. I mean, they're programmed. You watch all the movies since 1950s, okay?
Yeah.
That they have programmed these people's minds to believe that there are aliens.
Right.
And flying saucers.
Yeah.
Have they not?
They've programmed a few people. They've programmed a minority of people to believe that there are aliens. But it's it feels more like mostly a pastime, just an amusement to talk and think about. Some people really get into searching out that stuff, I'm sure. But,
well, probably what happened to this is probably why I looked into it, was because when I was 15 years old, I used to hang out with this old man, and he was like 65, okay? This is like the Waltons, okay? Lived in a house like the Waltons underneath a couple of oak trees.
Rich.
And he had a son that was stationed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and this old man used to tell me when I was 15 that his son saw the UFO at Wright-Patterson. Now, you got to realize I'm 15 years old, and I'm looking at this old man like, dude, so where did he get that from? Okay, there wasn't no internet or nothing like that. Now, I'm sure it was in the newspaper, but his son was stationed at that Air Force base and told his father, I saw it. Okay, so when I got older and I started watching TV and stuff, and I heard about that craft being taken to Wright-Patterson in 1947, I flashed back in my mind to having this old man telling me this stuff, dude.
Oh, okay.
That's crazy. I mean, you think about that, because you got to realize Dude, I'm 60 years old now in a couple of months. 6 months, I'll be 60.
Okay.
That was 45 years ago, Hake. Anyway,
But
let
me make a point, because you said it's not like he got it from the internet.
Right.
But the internet is what comes from people. And the internet only has crazy...
I understand that.
The internet only has crazy things because people are crazy. And people believe lies and push lies and have fantasies and stuff that they want to believe is true. Or maybe they don't want to believe it, but they're inclined to believe that it's true. And so just as much as I respect the old rich man who told you that...
Well, no, he wasn't rich. He just he was an old country
old man. The old country man. I respect the South. You know me. It doesn't mean that you necessarily believe it. And, you know, it's kind of like believing... Who's somebody who's been accused of things many times and you just don't believe it? Trump, maybe? I was going to bring up like Bill Cosby, but I don't know where you stand on Bill Cosby. And anyway, I don't know or care about Bill Cosby.
He was a pedo. He loved to give them quaaludes and knock them out and then go to town on them.
What you mean, girl? You mean grown woman getter?
Right.
Yeah, because that's not Pete Pettiff.
No, but listen.
But anyway, my point is like Trump. Let's say Trump. Trump is accused of many things, and some of them are by professional people, you know? And that doesn't mean that any of it is true.
Well, here, I'll put it this way: I no more trust the United States government than the man on the moon. Okay, and now I'm gonna prove something to you. I'll leave you with this.
All right.
You got all these. Okay, you got all these congressional meetings where they drag all these people out and they tell them, like they're going to drag Biden out and try to convict him for this. And anyway, they try to, anyway, nothing ever happens to these people. You ever notice that?
I totally noticed that.
None of them go to jail. So now,
we're going to have hearings. We're going to have an investigation, please.
Right. It's called stroke jobs. All right. So the Epstein file is big. Okay. You will never find out who's on that list. And that's how powerful these people are. That's what I want you to realize.
But
they are the people that
I don't even necessarily put any stock in Epstein's so-called list, because that's just like flight logs and stuff like that. People who went down to meet with him, doesn't mean that they did anything on those
Well,
things.
I don't mean it like that. I'm just saying you're never going to find out who was ever really on the list and who was going there. I mean, who cares? The damage is done. But the bottom line is these people are so powerful to control everything like they did. So, like COVID, what's the next, man? What are they going to pull out
nobody
next?
really got punished for the mismanagement and stuff like that. That's for sure.
No, and we're so sick. This shows you how sick our country is. We go and bring all the scientists, the evil, wicked scientists that did all kinds of evil things to the Jewish people during the World War II, and we bring them over here and put them in NASA.
Yeah, because they're good at what they do.
I know, but that just shows you that all they care about is technology. Just their minds are not right. Okay.
But what about forgiveness and redemption? We had to forgive and redeem those people.
Those people aren't getting redeemed.
No, but anyway,
it's like here. One more thing, man. We're worried about the blacks. People are, worried about the blacks. They talk about the blacks. Forget the blacks, man. How about the Muslims? Okay.
Shout out to all of them.
People out of here, huh?
I say shout out to all of them.
No, they're antichrist, dude.
Well, I mean, so are most Christians are antichrist. Don't you notice that?
Well, no, I don't really notice that they put an imposter up on the cross, okay, and that Jesus didn't die on the cross.
Yeah,
that raised from the dead.
But who cares? They can believe whatever. It's not like it's deceiving me or my kids.
Well, I understand that, but they're deceived.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they're over in our country.
Right.
Okay?
And we don't need to be bringing extra mess on top of the mess we already have here, for sure.
Yeah, because now we got Ilhan Ilham Omar
Right.
up in the yeah. So see, now go back to 1965 and just look how everything went from here to now.
The immigration thing and the
It
refugees
is everything.
and stuff.
Just everything. Okay.
All right,
And
David.
all
I
right.
appreciate it, man. I got to run.
I know y'all have. I know you do. Y'all have a great day.
You as well.
Later. All right. Bye bye.
Bye. I don't know if any of that, well, obviously I don't believe the Truman thing. Meeting with aliens or interdimensional beings. I don't even know what the truth is about the fiber optics. I'm okay with giving credit to the blacks for the fiber optics. Anyway, I was remiss, before I get back to the calls, there were a few super chats that I did not, to which I did not get. And I don't want to dox the person, so I'm censoring. But this is from Cashapp. The actor died. Great Pumpkin. I think he called me Great Pumpkin because I'm wearing I was wearing a orange shirt. And amen, Ryan. Ronnie is yours now, James. What's funny is that I'm not thinking of Ronnie as being on a side, and I don't think of Ronnie as being himself on one side or the other. I don't care. He doesn't care. I hope he doesn't care. Does Ronnie feel hurt and rejected? And is this some type of reverse psychology? Oh, what am I doing? Pardon me, guys. I'm not even showing you guys the thingy. This is from Little Rocket Man. So he told me some actor died, and I'm like, do you mean the actor or the character? The actor. And he called me Pumpkin, Great Pumpkin, which is not, it was funny, amusing. Amen, Ryan. And it's masculine, too, Great Pumpkin, as opposed to calling somebody Pumpkin. It's not really masculine. And Ryan from Illinois, the guy, that one man who was... So Ronnie, just because he's interested in hearing and conversing with a racist, a self-described racist, is on the side of the whites in your imagination? Terrible. What a mess. I disavow it. I think that there was another buy me a coffee. Let me just double check. Gregatron, thank you, man. As always. Over on Buy Me a Coffee, there's a few that came in. I read the Caesar one. Little Rock, it man. Yes, the girls, pardon me, are fighting. Trump and Elon, Mark and CJ, not JC, by the way. I'm just eating my popcorn laughing. That's not right. You shouldn't be you shouldn't be laughing. I don't think you're supposed to be laughing at your Christian brothers fighting one another. How's my good Judy James doing? Please give me your top 5 black artists since it's Black Music Month. Is it Black Music Month? Okay, Diddy, Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson. Who else is accused? Smokey Robinson. He's accused, right? I stand with Smokey. I take sides against the accuser because I'm caught up in the accusation culture, right? I'm just fighting against it. It's not right. Why not stand apart? Who cares? But I stand with Smokey, Diddy. I call him Sean Combs. Bill Cosby's an artist, definitely. Who's the third person? Michael Jackson, that's 4. And I'm hesitant to say Stephen Wiley because he's a Christian and he is a rapper, a Christian rapper, or was. Now he's just a Christian. But I want, there's somebody else that I got to stand with whom I got to stand. Oh yeah, I Believe I Can Fly. Who sang that song? I believe I can fly. You can tell he's really my favorite. R. Kelly. He's my other favorite artist. And I'm not saying it to diminish them. I'm saying it to uplift them. Because let's not, and I'm being a little facetious, but I don't really buy into anything other than that, yeah, they're probably sexual people. Some of them. Now, I don't think the MJ thing is real. But, yeah, they're sexual, they're perverted. Big wow. So is everybody. You know what I mean? So that's why I do that, because I'm not trying to say that, oh, black artists not to be trusted, because I'm for them. At least for their artistry. When I asked Joel, if you say the Temptations, you can't mention My Girl. Why not? I do like the Temptations and Sam Cooke, but that's already more. That's like 7 or 8. Can you pose the name discrimination question to your audience? Is it right to discriminate based on people's names? Audience. Ronnie disappointed me. I was hoping he was on our side, but he's on yours, which is not true. Ryan, Chase, John, Mark, I hope y'all call in today, and Jeff too. I like trying to decipher what it is he says, even though he disrespects you. Why do you allow it? I like hearing people's honest opinions, as long as it's tasteful, you know? And I don't really necessarily see it as disrespect. It's just how he sees it. And it's really not a question of respect or disrespect. It's kind of like he's showing respect by expressing his disrespect. Finally, keeping people on hold for an hour just to give them 2 minutes is evil work. No, it's not. It's called radio, man. The same, like, how am I supposed to read your supers? How am I supposed to have time to read your supers? Your super chats. The same way how you don't read super chats the day they were sent. My bag. I try to get to them, actually. I don't like letting them carry over. But that's the man you are. Thank you for calling me a man. Had Mark not been such an idiot and said my name so much last week, because he said JC instead of CJ, I wouldn't have been back, but he got unbanned because you wished to spite me with that Jubilees, oh karma, rainbows, God's promises, laughing face tears, sideways. P.S. Check your Cash App, and Kansas Robert is crazy. Shout out. He knows it. Cesar 3 Coffee Sup. Hake. Busy day, but I'm hoping I can catch your show later. Enjoy the weekend, everyone. Right on, Cesar Caesar. Ronnie from Ohio. Let me give another timestamp for Ronnie. I'm not sure what the point Hayden and Mark want to make with their request for me to name one black civilization that's successful. I forget the exact criteria, and so do I. What am I supposed to be trying to prove or disprove? Why am I being burdened with educating you guys about Kush and Mali? So Mali and Kush are his are examples of black civilizations, he says. Jeff then said it has to be sub-Saharan Africa, slightly moving the goalpost. Has he never heard of Luba? Hey, do you call? No, I doubt it. But I don't know. I haven't. Maybe. Hey, do your callers really not know anything? The scramble for Africa? Or the transatlantic slave trade that came before it? I'm not going to insult their intelligence or call them dumb or assume that they have low IQs. Not that there's anything wrong with a low IQ. Right? I think that the point is that the civilization of the whites is more widespread and proven, and the Asians too, is what more like what, and the Arabs, which is kind of white, more widespread and proven, or at least mixed, than that of the blacks in terms of like built up in impressiveness in a worldly sense, having a lot of money and buildings and stuff like that. You know, like what's that thing? Plumbing, things like that, pipes, water pipes and electricity and stuff, and just building up and improving and clean and dealing with disease supposedly well. Things like that. I don't know. I think that's what the point that they're trying to make. And then also just that they're, safer, less crime-ridden, supposedly. And so I think that's what their point is. And so that's partly why I asked what their use is or what their point is, or if God made them that way, or if it was just just that people kind of end up falling into different weaknesses, physical expressions of the spiritual weakness, because everybody has the spiritual death, right? So that's partly what I'm into. And popcorn. I'm somewhat surprised / not surprised, I was, to hear you say in response to the man confronting the woman for having called the child the N-word, that the man should have minded his own business. Somewhat surprised / not surprised. Do you generally advocate for people staying out of situations that don't involve them? Yeah. And if so, does that type of mindset lead to safer communities? Yeah, I think it does, generally. If a guy who was driving through your neighborhood, doesn't live there, saw someone breaking in through a window in the house that you live in, you obviously wouldn't want him to mind his business. So where would you draw the line and say, yes, get involved in this, but stay out of that? In that instance, I would either call the homeowner or call the police, unless I knew that I was capable of dealing with the home intruder. Wouldn't want to confront the home intruder. You maybe take video, but not get caught, not get seen, spotted taking video, hopefully, unless you know that you're not going to get repercussions, because there's all kinds of mess. But a woman calling a child supposedly the N-word is not anywhere near the same thing as an actual crime against a neighbor. Do you limit it to getting involved when it's illegal activities? Not even then, because sometimes the illegal activities you don't want to get involved. Staying out of when it's questionable or wrong morally? Should a man who sees kids smoking or drinking tell them they should stop, or should he mind his business? Depends on the kids. Depends on the moment. What's the gauge that you use? Certainly the guy was on a puffed up ego trip trying to get a gotcha on the woman who allegedly said the N-word to the black kid and then had already moved on. It wasn't like she was in the middle of berating the black kid. We saw no actual evidence that she even did anything to the black kid. Not that I'm denying that she said anything or said anything to the black kid, but it's like she had already moved on. Why can't he? No, because he wanted to get her. It was revenge. That did no good. So have some wisdom. Let your conscience be your guide. Give a little whistle. Give a little whistle. And always let your conscience be your guide. Thank you, Popcorn. I appreciate your supers. So that was coffees from Ronnie and Popcorn. Sweet. And okay, let me, I'll get to more of your super chats in a bit. I'd like to get to William number 7, who's on the line over here. William number 7, what's up, man?
Hey, Hake.
Hey.
All is well.
Right on.
I was trying to hold for JLP, but I called a little too late.
Oh, okay. I'll be your second choice.
Well, I wouldn't look at it like that.
Nice.
Put that idea in your head.
Sorry. Satan.
Okay. Hey, so interesting first caller. You said that was David from Ocala?
Yeah, Ocala, Florida.
Ocala, Florida.
Yep.
One of the few states I've never been in.
Wow. Very humid, the places that I've been in Florida. Whew. I'm glad I live in California.
Kind of like Panama from what I heard. It's like Panama. That was horrible there, the humidity.
Mm.
But sounds like he's almost 62. That's fascinating. So I wanted to piggyback, if you may or may not remember, that I was Air Force veteran of 14 years. And one of my best friends who did pass away, when I'm not going to give the year, but he showed me a Polaroid that he snapped himself when he was in a missile base, I believe at the base that David mentioned. He had photos of technology that no one knew about, and basically they came up behind this berm and snapped a photo, and it was these, take like a 50-gallon drum that the clowns jump into in the rodeo, you know, a 55-gallon drum, but cut it off, make it about a foot shorter. And these were like metal pods, and there were like 5, 6 people. There were 6 or 7 of them, and they were all levitating. And it looked like they were training and trying to figure out how to use them, but no sound came from them. Like they were just hovering. So there is technology out there that they're not telling us about. But I literally saw the Polaroid. He showed it to me. And I promised not to really say much, but since he passed away, and it was a long time ago, so that corroborates what David's old man talked about, I think.
So some of the stuff that they supposedly saw, according to them, is possibly government fancy dancy top level secret technology.
Well, yeah, something that defies gravity, and it could be something to do naturally. It's just wisdom and knowledge we're unaware of. I mean, they say the bumblebee doesn't really fly like a plane. It creates a vibration with its wings that actually creates a field around it, and it disengages, I guess, the gravity field because there's like a little indentation in the back. Something like that. I've heard about that. You've heard that, right? That
Nope. I hadn't heard that.
Yes, when they look at the bumblebee, it shouldn't fly because of how big and fat it is, and the wings is not enough to produce lift. But the vibration is what creates a envelope around it. And because you'll see bees, all bees and bumblebees can fly straight regardless of how powerful wind is. So it does it in nature, yes. Yes. All we have to do is look at nature.
Are you sure? I feel like they get
what does feeling got to do with it? Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I feel like they get blown a bit. Like if you blow on a bee, huh?
I don't know about that.
Like if you blow on a bee, it'll like fly away a little bit. It'll like get a whatever.
Well, it'll feel it. It feels it, but it's unaffected.
No, it's affected.
Just like you guys teach us to not feel the emotions, but don't let it affect us.
Well, affect you emotionally, but it's going to change your physical course.
Yes. So we're now comparing physical to emotional, mental, and then there's spiritual.
Right.
Well, let's not forget there's 3 parts to us. Yeah?
What are those 3 parts?
I would say our physical body.
Okay.
Our mind, our emotion. And maybe emotion can be separated from mind if JLP's, what he says is correct, that we shouldn't let it affect us. And then there's the spirit. It's what moves us. It's what makes us animate, like animals. Yeah, interesting. Huh.
I don't know.
So how you been, man? So that was an interesting call. I know the subject matter that I had. What did Derek put down for what I wanted to talk about?
Just saying hi.
Okay. All right then. I'll just say that.
Nice.
I was thinking about. I think I did enough. I was gonna maybe talk about the flat Earth thing because Derek's one. And
are you a flat earther or a ball-tard, or do you have a position?
I have no position as of right now because I have not personally been high enough to look and deny or to confirm anything.
Oh, okay. But doesn't it look like it's just so obviously drops off?
What drops off?
The land and sea at the horizon, it just drops off.
I don't know. That sounds like something somebody who dropped acid would say, but I'm not sure.
Somebody who dropped what?
Acid might say something like that. I don't know.
No, that's not necessarily.
Somebody who drops acid might see that. I don't know. I've never seen it, but if you say so, I believe you, I think.
Oh, so
I don't
this
know what you mean.
horizon.
Are you talking about the horizon?
Yeah,
Are you
the
talking
horizon.
about the horizon?
Yeah, the horizon.
Okay.
The horizon doesn't look like a vanishing point to you, does it? Or does it look like, I put words in your mouth. That's a leading question. Does the horizon
it's
look
okay,
like a
Hake.
vanishing
it's all right.
point?
I'm not.
Or does the horizon look like the sea, like it's just a crisp line? That's where it drops out of view because it's a curve.
So the vanishing point, somebody called your show about knowing, I think you cut him off because he's getting kind of hostile, but he talked about the P1000 camera that you zoom in and then you can see the horizon further than your eyes can see, and that's true. We can only see so far.
No,
So,
but I'm asking you, does that look like it could go on all the way to the end of the Earth? Does it look like it could go on all the way to the end of the flat Earth, and you could just zoom in and zoom in and zoom in, or does it look like it just drops?
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
It can't look like that because we can't see that far. That's the point.
But no, but what
can't
does
see
it?
that
What
far,
does it
so
look
it's not-
like to you?
Listen to what you're asking me.
Yeah. Does it look like? Does it look like all of that crisp line could contain all the Mount Everest, and all that stuff if you zoom in well enough?
Well, first, I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah.
You cannot see a crisp line anymore because where I live,
It's a crisp
I haven't
line.
seen a crisp horizon line because of the smog and the light and the smoke, and they say the fires. So I think it's interesting
Yeah.
since this kind of took off back in 2015. I mean, I've flown many times while in the Air Force, and I could always see that crisp horizon line
Yeah.
in an airplane. You
Right.
can't see it anymore. It's white and haze. There is no line anymore.
Oh
You
no,
can't
that's
see it.
that's a crisp line right there, man.
I don't know what you're looking at. It's probably an old photo. I'm talking about
This is not old.
going to anywhere and looking yourself.
Yeah,
not
exactly. I go
on
to
a
the
video.
beach practically every week, and I see a crisp.
Now, I do not have the ability to go to the ocean. Hey,
There is no.
I'm not at the ocean.
There's no vanishing point, fuzz, anything. Because there's no such thing actually as a vanishing point.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
How are you sure?
because it wouldn't look crisp like this.
I will ask. I'll pull
Yeah.
JLP. Who told you that? And where did you get that?
Nobody told me that. I
Okay.
did hear that a vanishing point is just a theory. It's just an art theory in terms of how you draw stuff. You draw as though there's a vanishing point, and so you aim everything at those points in order to make it look realistic, to approximate
that's
how your
fine.
eyes
There's
look.
nothing- I'm
but
not-
that has
that's
nothing to do
true.
with how real stuff is. You've never seen a
I
vanishing
agree.
point that you know of.
That's what I'm trying to. I guess you're not understanding. You're literally not understanding.
No, but
because we
you're
can't see that
not
far.
even answering my question because you're pretending like there could be a vanishing
Well,
point when you're not telling me what it actually looks like.
Pretend I'm pretending, because if you're saying I'm pretending, then that means I'm lying, and I'm not a liar.
No, but you're acting like you don't want to answer my question as I asked it because of something that you
But
think
what if
that
your
you've
premise
learned.
is faulty? What if you're framing it in a way that's not making sense to me?
But I asked you what it looks like, and you have never even said what it looks like.
Are you talking about the vanishing line?
No, I'm talking
horizon.
about the horizon. That's not
What
a
about-
vanishing.
okay,
That's not a vanishing
Specifically
line
ask me
necessarily.
about the horizon.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no,
What
I
about
already
it?
asked it. Oh, does it look like it's a horizon because that's where it drops off?
You can, if you zoom in, you can see further and further and further.
I know, but
all
that's
I'm
not what I
saying. And
asked
if it's
you.
a globe, you shouldn't be able to see that
How do you know that?
because I've done it. Have you?
What? That doesn't make sense.
I've done it. Have you?
Of course, everybody zoomed in a little bit on
Okay,
the
so then
horizon,
why?
but
Wait, so you're
so
saying
you're
it
saying
says
that you don't
zoom
think
in.
it's a globe. You think it's a flat Earth. You see, you're not being totally
so-
honest with me.
I am being honest, Hake.
No,
If you wanna
because
hear
you
the
said you
answer,
don't
I'll
know,
tell
and now you're saying if it
I
were a
said
globe, you couldn't
I-
zoom in and see more.
Listen.
Did you notice that?
Calm down. It's okay. I said I haven't been high enough in space or on a rocket. I've only been in an airplane which flies about 30,000 feet, which is only 6 miles up. So I could not. There's no way you could see, even if we believe what they tell us scientifically, according to what's that one guy, the black guy, the guy that's on Big Bang Theory sometimes.
Have you noticed that you haven't answered my question?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
If we go by what he says, because he's supposed to be a scientific, or whatever they call those physicists, we couldn't get high enough to see the globe, is what he says. So if you can't get high enough to see it, how can you prove or disprove it? That's all I'm saying.
Right.
And I haven't certainly been that high.
But it's quite clear that it just drops off.
I don't think it's clear, but, it's all good.
Okay. Nice.
Anyway, that's it. Like I said, the truth will come out one day. I'm sure. I don't think it's really nothing to get too worked up. I mean, think about it this way: they could lie to us about the physical realm. How much more the spiritual realm? But you can't
see for yourself.
And I'm going to flip it to the spiritual now. So you guys say, and now I agree, that Jesus, how they say that's something that happened 2,000 years ago, and he claimed to be God, yet the scriptures clearly don't say it, yet every Christian denomination says, yes, he did.
Right.
So how do you reconcile that? And that's nothing you can see. It's something that happened in the past. That's history, right? So if they're able to do that with what we can't see,
but I don't base the ball earth on what they say. I base the ball earth on the fact that it's obviously a ball.
Well, no. Anyway, I'm talking about the Jesus thing now. We switched topics. So
right.
Do you think, anyway, do you think the scriptures say Jesus said he was God?
No.
Okay. And I believe you. And I'm not going to challenge you on that, because I know you read your Bible and you grew up in a Christian environment, and you're a good man. And I think you're an honest man. I think, unless you're a really good actor, which is possible. I don't know. But I think if they can fool us about who God is and who Jesus was, well, I mean, because isn't that really what matters anyway, and not what the shape of the earth anyway?
What's that? Oh, yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, that's what matters anyway. Who cares what the shape of the earth is? Who cares if they lied about it? But if they lied, wouldn't you want to know why?
No, because they didn't lie about that.
Okay, all right. Well, I thought the scriptures say
I think it's interesting that people
world is under the sway of the devil.
I think it's interesting.
I thought that's what the scriptures say.
It's fascinating that people buy into the different crazy stuff, lies.
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't, I never crossed my radar until it popped up on my YouTube feed.
Yeah,
I was just trying to be a good Christian and trying to figure out why it was so hard to be perfect. And then I found out it was our thoughts and imaginations. Yeah. But I'm going to let you go. I shout out to everybody. Maybe one day I'll get to talk to JLP again. But until then, God bless everybody. And shout out to, who else? Let's see, all the Williams out there. I know.
Right on, William.
Shows.
Take care, man.
Peace out till then.
Sounds good.
Shout out to Derek.
Yeah.
Bye.
Right on. Derek, the producer, another flat earther. All the young whippersnappers are flat earthers. What a mess. They can't answer what clearly is before their eyes. You clearly see the sun dipping below the horizon, and they explain it away as though it's really disappearing because it's getting further away, even though it's obviously not. What in the world? I need some sanity in my life. So I'm going to talk to CJ in Washington State. CJ, help. CJ.
Okay. Gotta go to
the world. Hang on. He's listening to the show. It's horrible. So much for sanity. Let's get to more sanity. Mark in Los Angeles, California, on the line here. Mark, what's up, man?
Yeah, I love your show, but if I could make one critical criticism.
Yes, always.
Drop the flat earth. That's bogus. It's a non-issue. Anybody that thinks the earth is flat needs a psychiatrist. So I wish you would stop wasting time on those calls. And
That's
now-
fair.
okay,
That's
so,
fair. I like it, but that's you're right. I should. You're right. I accept the criticism. Go ahead.
I mean, I wouldn't even allow it on the show. I wouldn't even talk about it another second.
Oh,
But anyway,
okay.
to get
Well,
to my points
but thank
here,
you.
I heard your conversation with the evil one yesterday, and it seems to me the only thing they got on Chauvin, if anything he said was true, was that he didn't give the savage CPR.
Right.
You
he
don't
didn't.
send a guy to prison for 25 years because he doesn't give CPR to a savage who was resisting the way he
Well,
was.
when I asked that, he said no, because he is not just that he didn't give CPR as he's required by law to do according to him. It's also because
according to him.
Yeah,
right.
according to him, and you could look it up. Maybe I don't know. I don't care. But
I'm not going to waste time with his lies.
me
But, go
neither.
ahead.
But he also that he stayed on him 3 more minutes after he, according to him, 3 more minutes. I don't remember how many. That after he was clearly not moving anymore.
Okay.
And so
what's
when you
Chauvin supposed to do?
you're
What's he supposed to give him a
turn
breath,
him on his
you know,
side, I
give him
guess.
CPR? No way.
Turn him
Pardon?
on his turn him on his side, and maybe even give him CPR. According to the law, you're supposed to do
Okay,
that.
got it. I got it. Now here's the second part of my statement.
All right.
When that black savage in D.C. shot and killed Ashli Babbitt, when he shot her through the window, she had no felonies, no arrests. She was a patriot. She didn't do anything but become a victim to this incompetent cop. He didn't give her CPR, and yet he wasn't charged with anything. He wasn't charged with her murder. He should have been. Now, the family of Ashli Babbitt received, I think it was $5 million from the Trump, the DOJ or the government because of her murder. But the scumbag that shot her was never charged because he's black. He never gave CPR. And if I hear some garbage about, well, the law is different in D.C. from Minneapolis, then the law in Minneapolis needs to be changed. I'm sure the evil one who's waiting online to come in next will dispute that and say, well, the laws are probably different here. It doesn't matter. Murder is murder. Floyd was not murdered, and on his death certificate, it doesn't say murder. And then he tried to minimize the poison fentanyl that was
Homicide. Does it say homicide?
Well, no. On Floyd's death certificate, he died of a drug overdose. Okay? That's what the death certificate says. So, and what did the clown say otherwise?
I
didn't hear the
feel
whole
like the
discussion.
George Floyd thing is almost as tired as the flat Earth thing. I
No,
get
I
that.
agree. No,
I
I
get
don't
that
even wanna talk about
I
it.
get that the Derek Chauvin was there was some
He's a political prisoner.
anti-white animus behind an anti-police, anti-law and order animus behind communist animus motivating the going after of Derek Chauvin. But the point that CJ makes, which is valid, is that cops are also getting out of control.
Well, look what they're dealing with.
I
I'd like
get
to
it.
see that little,
I get it.
Listen, hey, I'd like to see that little sissy put on a uniform and go to the ghetto.
Well,
and see
he
if
was
he's worried
already an
about giving
EMT or whatever.
He's a
But-
fraud, man.
Hey,
Don't come tell me that he's anything but a fraud.
Ease up.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, moving
okay,
forward,
but
because
he's-
we've already said all of these
no,
things.
Well, the last thing, and I promise I won't ever bring it up again. That's a promise. Just compare what happened with Officer Love, who murdered Ashli Babbitt,
Byrd.
and what they're doing to Chauvin.
Mike Byrd, you're talking about the
Byrd, yeah, the cop that killed.
I don't even know if that's
Ashli.
really fair to call it murder. It was definitely a questionable shoot.
She posed no threat. She was behind a glass door.
No. She was jumping through the. I looked at the
No,
video
she
again.
wasn't.
She
Look
was.
at it again, Hake.
I did.
We've been through this before.
No, I know you sent
She
me the
wasn't
thing, and I
jumping
looked
through
at it
anything.
again, and she was jumping through the thing. She
No,
was
well,
climbing-
there's something wrong with your vision.
No,
He
she was
shot her
climbing
in
through the
cold blood.
broken window.
She was holding back the other demonstrator.
That I don't even necessarily believe, but I don't know. I don't
Oh,
really
okay, so you're
care
going
what's.
to equate her with George Floyd. You're going to equate her
No.
with George Floyd. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I
Well,
said
why
it's a
wasn't Love
questionable
charged with murder then? And why didn't he give her CPR? Maybe that devil.
because
that
she
you're
fell
gonna be
backwards
talking to in a
into
minute
the
can
other
explain
side.
it.
He's not going to go into the crowd. Maybe some other people, whatever. I don't know. That was probably like a fatal wound.
She was behind the door, Hake.
No,
She wasn't in his face. He came out of
I
nowhere
agree
and
with
shot
that.
and killed her.
She was jumping through where it
No
looked like
way.
she was jumping through where she didn't
A
belong.
trespass requires murder.
No, of
You
course
shoot
not.
a trespasser.
Not
Well,
necessarily.
that's what he did. Well, that's
But
what
you're
not
calling it
necessarily
murder.
either
I'm
yes
calling it.
or no.
I'm calling it a questionable shoot because you're going. I think my opinion too far with calling it murder.
Okay, so Mike Love or whatever his name
Byrd,
was. Officer Byrd, I'm
B-Y-R-D.
sorry.
Shout out.
Byrd, he deserves a promotion
No,
because
obviously
he got
not.
one. Well, he got one.
Did he?
And the people that gave him the promotion were thinking along the same lines as you are.
Not really.
That she deserved it. Oh, yeah.
I didn't
Why would
say
they
she.
give her a
I never
promotion?
said she deserved it. I said that she. I did kind of say that she brought it on herself if she really
Well,
was
that's
doing
wrong.
something.
If it wasn't a justified shoot.
Doesn't make it
Okay.
justified just because somebody brought something on themselves doesn't mean that it's justified.
Well, what did she bring on herself? Well, how did she bring anything on herself?
By
why
being
did
in the
government
wrong
pay her
place where she
family
didn't
$12
belong.
million if she brought it on herself.
Because it was a questionable shoot. He was wrong and she was
Why
wrong.
wasn't he charged?
Because it's,
Wait a minute.
Because don't
why
expect.
didn't he give her CPR?
I don't care about CPR.
Well, no, but that bozo that you had on yesterday, that's his point for putting a good white man in prison.
I know, but
because he didn't
wasn't
give her CPR.
He wasn't
What
sitting on her.
nonsense.
He wasn't sitting on her after he shot her.
No, she died almost instantly.
Right.
They didn't apply
So
CPR.
then you're trying to
No,
shoehorn something that doesn't fit.
You can't
I get
defend
to-
what he did.
I'm not defending what he did. I'm just
He
making.
said that it was a good shoot. Did I hear you wrong?
I didn't say it was a good shoot. I never even came
was
close
it a
to
good
that.
shoot, yes or no?
No, doesn't look like it.
Well, then why wasn't he charged with murder?
Because
it
you
be
can't
rape?
expect justice. What? How much of a? I'm almost called you a boomer.
That's okay.
Why do
I
you
wear it with
expect?
pride.
Why do you? You already know. Are you playing dumb that you think that whites are going to get justice or Trump supporters are going to get justice?
That's why the evil one is so adamant about wanting to keep Chauvin in jail.
That has nothing to do with the anti-white thing.
He's as anti-white as Ronnie.
No.
Now, let's move on. Oh, yeah, definitely.
No.
He just hides it better.
No.
Oh, no, he's a scumbag.
You're-
Now let's get on.
No.
Can I say one last thing about Ronnie? Because he mentioned me in his writing.
Right.
Okay, those countries that he named that black people civilized, that's a lie. Ronnie, you're lying. Those countries have never been civilized. No country on earth. And Arnold Toynbee, look him up, the greatest historian in the history of the world.
Oh yeah, you've
has
said this,
stated that they have never created. Are we going to believe Toynbee or Ronnie?
Ronnie.
Oh, well,
Where's
good luck.
Toynbee? Where's Toynbee now?
Well, he passed away like we all will.
Okay,
but he
so
was still the
Kush,
greatest.
Mali, and Luba.
Yeah, who ever heard of those places?
Kush
Nobody
is-
even heard of them.
Kush.
They didn't, well, how's their space program going in Mali? How many people are immigrating there? What do they have to offer the world?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
It's not,
It's Kush.
they have to
The kingdom
lie.
of Kush was it's modern day Sudan, and it was located around
that's
like
a nice place.
ancient Egypt.
You think you'll go there on your next vacation?
Obviously not. Civilizations rise and fall. Look at America's turning into a ghetto, as you know.
Well, I know, but Toynbee warned us. He said they never created a single. So they can lie about it, Ronnie. I had more respect for you, Ronnie, but now you're lying. I have more respect for Ronnie than the evil one by far.
Well,
at least
neither of
Ronnie's
them
not
really-
arrogant. He's not arrogant at all. But he's
Who's
wrong.
not arrogant?
Ronnie. But he's wrong.
You hear that,
he's
Ronnie?
just plain wrong.
You're not arrogant.
Pardon?
I'm
Yeah, he's not arrogant,
I'm
but he's
addressing
wrong.
Ronnie as you heard it from him. You're not arrogant. I don't know,
No, but
man.
he's still wrong. He's wrong
West
about these
Africa
countries.
Mali is in West Africa, landlocked country.
Yeah,
Eighth largest
if there is
country.
any, I don't know anything about those places.
Oh,
but
well,
I
then
would
how are you
guess.
going to poo-poo them?
Well, because Toynbee said they never created a single civilization, and I never even heard of those places.
That's because
one of the things.
they're trying to hide black excellence.
Why would they do that? It took
You're right.
Ronnie
That's a
5
good
times to
question.
answer the question. He had it took
Luba,
5 times.
the Luba
to answer.
people are an ethnic group primarily located in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
That's a first world country.
The Luba no, I know, but the Luba kingdom, pre-colonial state, emerged in the 15th century and was known for its centralized authority and divinely inspired kingship. So, you know, they was kings.
Oh yeah, right. I guess
Come on,
Toynbee
man.
missed that.
Work with us here, man.
No,
Give a
there
little
was one-
credit to the blacks. They got a little thing going sometimes now and then.
Well, they're good athletes and they're good entertainers.
No, I know, but sometimes they're halfway decent leaders in things.
Where?
Luba, Mali, according
Idi
to
Amin?
Ronnie. I don't know. I feel like Colonel Allen West was maybe okay and JLP's all right.
Yeah, he is. JLP tells the truth.
Yeah.
The William in California,
Clarence
they tell
Thomas.
the truth.
Clarence
The
Thomas
problem-
is a
yeah,
solid,
I know, I agree with you. Yeah.
black man in a white country.
Well, let me ask you this, Hake.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where you're coming from sometimes. I've told you that the most famous black person in American history, in my view, was Marcus Garvey. Now, would you put Allen West over Marcus Garvey?
Not
Just a
necessarily. I'm not that familiar with Marcus Garvey or really that much Allen West.
Well, briefly, Garvey wanted the Negroes to go back to Africa, and he was imprisoned by big labor at the time because they needed cheap labor, like the Mexicans we have that have invaded our country today. Well, 100 years ago, the industrialists wanted, cheap black labor, and so they imprisoned Garvey because he had a large following, and they were almost on their way out of here. You know, he spoke at Klan rallies. He was pro-white. Not pro-white. No, scratch that. He was pro-black, but he was a separatist. So
Yeah.
I would have to put him as the best. I don't hear Allen West, and who's probably a good conservative. Don't know much about him.
Yeah,
But I would have to
But
put
shout
Garvey up there with top leadership. But I made a mistake yesterday in a word that I used, but I'm not going to repeat it because the hair splitter is about to come on. And he said that everything I've ever said was wrong. I mean, that pretty much proves he's a fool. You know, everything. I've never said anything wrong, and I've never lied about anything on your show. So, and that
Nice.
includes the Chauvin situation. Chauvin's in jail.
Have you
know it.
ever spoken without knowing everything completely? Because that's what he's accusing you of. Really, it's not that you're lying. It's just that you're speaking ignorantly on some things and just assuming and having an opinion and bending the facts to suit your opinion or asserting facts that aren't true that suit your opinion as.
Oh, okay. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Do the trains run on time in Italy or Germany, or does it friggin' matter?
Well, we already
That's
brought
the
that up,
heresy
man.
he
I got to
split.
move on.
I love you, Hake. God
Yeah.
bless you, and have a good weekend.
You as well, man. Thanks for the advice,
Thank
too,
you.
earlier. Take care.
You got it.
All right.
Thanks, Hake.
Yep. Manuel in California on the line over here. Manuel, thank you for calling, man. What's up?
Thank you, Hank.
Hey.
That's so funny. Yesterday, everyone was complaining about only getting a minute.
Yeah.
I didn't complain. I just took my minute as fast as I could.
That's right. I know. They started to argue and waste their time.
Yeah, like, dude, if you're on a limited time, why are you even complaining?
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
Get to the point.
Use it. Use your time wisely.
So yesterday I was telling you about the Thermo King, which is the unit that they mount onto those reefer trailers. It's a AC unit, pretty much a mini split.
Okay.
But that was invented by a black guy.
Uh-huh.
I think in the South, in Louisiana, or somewhere in the South over there. But fiber optics, no, not invented by a black guy. There was a black guy that modified or had whatever you call that, like, and say they're using some type of insulation, and he switched the insulation. That's all he really did. Someone else already invented the product.
Yeah.
And then he just modified it. I don't think black people really understand what the word invention means. Stoplight, same concept. Someone else already invented that, but this guy invented something else. Instead of it lights, it had like little levers, you know?
Yeah.
It would pop in and out. It's not the same as a stoplight. It's just a different design. And then I can't remember what the other one. I thought there was another one. Oh, no, I don't remember. So then the Kush, like you already looked that up, Egypt, Luba, that was like, I think in the middle of Africa, which I couldn't really find any significant thing about that.
Uh-huh.
Mali was the only one that I could find something interesting on. Back in the day, the transatlantic trade slaves, they were one of the biggest contributors to that.
Wow. So they were awesome enough to capture and own and maintain and sell slaves.
Right. They captured their own people and sold them. So I mean, Ronnie's got
their
a point.
Own or others? Was it their own people or
own.
Other people?
Oh, I'm sure others, as in
Nice.
or different tribes, but same color.
Yeah. Based.
Yeah. So,
Well,
I mean,
not that it's
that's
based. I just don't have this emotional condemnation of slavery like other people have.
Yeah.
At least not at this point.
But to me, it's what it is what it is. They act. You guys can't. No one can act like no one was a slave. Every race was a slave.
Yep.
Slave comes from the word Slavic. You know, they were some of the first slaves.
Yep.
So all of civilization used that as a form of currency or labor. You know, the way I look at slaves is just a workforce. You're a slave right now when you go to work.
Yeah.
Unless you go work for yourself, like what you guys are doing, what I did, real estate, welding. You know, other than that, if you work for somebody, you're just a workforce for somebody, a slave.
Yeah.
This time you just get paid and you feel like you're like something special when you're really not, because then you just get taxes taken out of it. Then you got to pay taxes when you go buy something with that same money, like a complete waste.
That's right. Totally, man.
Oh, do you know how you guys were talking about that whole slave trade thing? I can't remember the dude from Kansas. I think it was. And he was talking about the Jays, you know.
Say that again about.
You remember that?
Do I remember what?
Someone was talking about the Jays.
Yeah.
About the slave trade.
Oh yeah, Jews and their involvement in the slave trade and supposedly slavery, or maybe not slavery, but slave ships.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've been wanting to call Jesse about it, but I really don't want to give fuel to anybody to like go against him on stuff.
Yeah.
But I've known this since I was a child. I remember my great grandfather and my grandfather saying that the Portuguese were some of the best sailors and ship drivers in the world. And the Portuguese were some of the biggest shippers of the world. You know, they shipped all over to Brazil, you know, a lot of slaves. They shipped a lot of slaves over to us, you know. But I remember my grandparents talking about that back in the day.
Yeah.
That's how the Portuguese got, you know, started. They, you know, they were shipping people.
And were the Portuguese part Jewish sometimes?
Well, right after 1492, you know, that whole situation in Spain,
yeah,
a lot of them came over to Portugal, which is a port city, you know.
Oh, okay.
I get it. I wouldn't blame it all on the Jays. Like, I get it. I mean, yeah. I have my own opinion about them, which is, I'll avoid that for channel's sake. But that was just like a way of trading back then, you know, like, I get it. Nowadays, yeah, I get it. Some of them are still doing the same thing, or that people might have their controversies with them now. But I just remember back in the day, my grandparents would always talk about that. Like, we were the shippers of goods back in the day. Not like he was sad or happy or whatever. He was just saying, you know, like, it is what it is. That's just how it was back then.
Yeah. Everybody had their role in the world.
So to answer Hayden's question, the white nationalist or black,
yeah,
I would definitely take a white nationalist. Ronnie only wants to move next to Mark for controversy, not for peace, not to hang out. Like, I wouldn't want to sit there and argue with my neighbor all the time.
Right.
I mean, I get he's not trying to argue with him, but like, it's going to come down to that. I'd much rather live next to someone that either I have nothing to deal with or slight, small interactions and be done.
Yeah, totally.
So I think it's funny. Not I'm assuming, obviously, that Ronnie would want to live next to him just for controversy. You know, I get it to have debates and stuff like that, but that's going to go overboard eventually.
Yeah, or it'll get old because it's right
Right.
now it's sort of a spectacle for Ronnie, and he's said multiple times that he likes Ronnie being on my. I mean, he likes Mark being on my show, for example. Mark being, I guess, a white nationalist, or a nationalist for white people, being proof that there are really whites like this, because people think that they don't exist, or whatever. But that's just to prove something. You would consider yourself that?
Yeah, even though I'm not a pure breed, you know.
Right.
But I would consider myself more of a white nationalist because, not so much that white people need to survive, but I just, you know, I seen how things were, you know. I hang out with a lot of people, white people at that. They just have a different order to life, you know.
Yeah.
Some things that Mexicans don't see, like, do you park on your lawn?
No. That's funny, man.
Order to things, right?
Yep.
And this is my whole thing about the half-breeds. I've called you about this, too, because I'm a half-breed.
Yeah.
Krishan the Don, half-breed. I mean, he's cool. I really like him, but...
Yeah, me too.
There's just some things you can't get into a half-breed's head. You know, my dad would say the same thing. Like, you guys just don't see it. You know, You're not 100% white. If you were 100% white, you would be in a different... You'd act a different way. You'd see things in a different way. But, when you're in a half-breed, you're kind of in the mix, you know, like you don't know if you belong to this side or that side, you know, because like the Mexicans, I speak Mexican or Spanish, and I hung out with Mexicans all the time, but they would always treat me different because I look white. You know, my complexion is not dark.
Yeah.
But then even when I go hang out with some of the white people, you know, it's the same thing. So you get stuck in the middle and you judge both sides like he does. What's crazy when Krishan keeps saying we, you know, like as he's talking as if he's a white man, he's not. You know, I get it. You know, you're half, but you're not a part of the we.
Yeah.
Because if you were a part of the we, you would see the order that like Mark likes. You know, clean lawns, stuff in order. You know, but everyone's different. You know, I'm kind of assuming on all that, but that was just my 2 cents on the half-breed thing. I've heard you say it too. Like, it's hard to get through to some of these guys because they just don't see it the same way.
Yeah, they identify differently, and they have an identity, but they may not realize that they have an identity, even if they identify with, like I said, themselves or they may take pride in their logical position, and even that is an identity that prevents you from seeing just common sense reality as it is, or giving people the freedom or right or thinking that it's fair for people to think in terms of race, in terms of how they organize their society. Yeah, man.
Yeah. White people have a whole different way of order and civilization, just like Mexicans have their own way, and blacks have their own way, Africans have their own way, Chinese have their own way. We all have our culture and norms and all that.
Yeah.
And so when you're trying to put two different opposites together, you're going to have a fight. Well, imagine if you're a mixed breed like me, you're in the middle of it. Do I go to the mariachi or do I go to the Portuguese festival, you know?
Yeah.
You're in the middle of it, and it's a mess.
It totally is.
Right on. I'll let you get going to it.
Good to hear from you, man.
Have a good weekend.
You as well. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
I got to get back to CJ in Washington State. I forgot. CJ, are you there?
Yo, what's up?
Hey, man.
Man, self-awareness would do people a lot of good, man.
For sure. Definitely, man.
Yeah, it was really fun after you were telling Mark that he was wrong, 10, 12 times in a row on the first half of your conversation. He then fires back with, I've never said anything that's wrong. Is he not aware that your entire conversation was him making assumptions and you say, no, that's wrong, no, that's wrong, no, that's not what I said, no, I never said that, no, he never said that, no, that's wrong. He has no idea that you virtually just said he's wrong about everything? God, Anyway.
But
I'll just sum this up.
He's just, I think what his point is that he feels he has backing for what he says, and he's not like trying to lie. He's not trying to.
Well,
anyway.
Okay. Well, I can guarantee you this, right? Because drug's not even really a medical term. It's called the toxicology report, and that's attached onto the death certificate. So here's what the death certificate definitely does not have anywhere in it: the word drug and the word overdose. Okay. So I don't know what he read, but I don't even know if he can read. I think that's why he can't.
Of course he reads.
No,
he gave me some books. I gotta let you guys.
Oh, okay.
Let some.
Well, he doesn't seem like he's able to actually look at documents and read them accurately. I mean, the death certificate is right there online. You can just type right now, George Floyd.
I bet you are in the 1% of, probably that's of an overestimation. You're probably in the 0.1%, maybe not even 0.1% of people have looked up those documents firsthand. You know what I mean?
Right. That's why I have no problem arguing and debating with idiots that get all of their information from YouTube videos.
Nice.
It was like this one lady online. She was like, we're talking in this carnivore community. She's like, I've done so much research. I should probably be given a master's degree. I was like,
funny.
In nutrition? She's like, yeah. I was like, do you think you could diagram a glucose molecule right now? She's like, well, no. I was like, okay, so all the research you've done is, you mean you've watched a lot of YouTube videos by actual doctors and smart people? Oh, yeah. You've never done any research? Right. Yeah, that's like Mark. Mark's just watched a lot of YouTube videos, never done any research himself.
I think that's most of us. Don't look
That's
down on us.
Hey, remember, I'm the one that coined the term chat-tard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I believe all of your audience are retards.
Okay, well, I disavow. But shout out.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I know you do. So anyway, yeah, I was going to call you up because about the African civilization thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I also came across the kingdom of Kush.
Is that how it's pronounced? Kush?
Kush.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, but anyway, you looked it up. Yeah. I would have called it Kush, but maybe that sounds like weed or whatever that stuff is.
In Kush? Okay, Kush?
No, go for it.
So, yeah, there was actually, Herodotus, the Greek historian, who is probably 1 million times more famous than the historian Mark is saying is the greatest historian in history.
Toynbee?
So Herodotus was writing about the Macrobian people who he visited. And they were, at the time, considered like a legendary people because they were like massively taller than everybody else, like 6'4", 6'6". And they're reported to have lived into like 120 years. So the Macrobian actually means long-lived. So the thing is that when they met with the Persian king, and Cambyses was kind of tearing up the African continent and had conquered Egypt, and he sent a bunch of gifts to the Macrobian king to try to just get him to submit. And the Macrobian king sent him back one of their longbows, unstrung, and said, you better be able to string this bow if you're thinking about invading us, dude.
Wow.
Because you probably can't even string one of our bows. And they'd never got invaded. But the thing is when they were having this dialogue, the other king was like, yeah, we eat a lot of wheat and stuff, and a lot of grains, and we kind of die at like 70 or some ridiculously young age.
Yeah.
And the Macrobian king was just like, yeah, we live to be like 120, and all we eat is boiled meat and milk. So,
wow.
Carnivore for the win 2,000 years ago.
Meat.
But then, like, so the king of Macrobia was an Ethiopian. So then I started researching like where they came from. And the kingdom of Kush, which the Egyptians say was from very dark complexion, skinned people with tight, kinky, curly black hair, were the people of Kush. And a remarkably advanced civilization for its time. Okay. Right up there with Egypt. They were like mummifying their kings and doing all sorts of stuff.
So are
Yep,
the
absolutely.
I lost a point. Were the Macrobians related to the Mali people?
No.
Oh, okay.
The Macrobian king was an Ethiopian.
Oh, okay.
So also probably black.
That's right. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So.
And then the Mali were very advanced. So 1 point for Ronnie then.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think another funny one is when they blacks say that they invented the helicopter.
They say that?
And yeah,
I hadn't heard that one.
Oh yeah,
that I recall.
Oh yeah, yeah. But yeah, I believe Newton had already drawn up plans, never built it, but then they built his plans, and I'm pretty sure he designed a functional helicopter.
So there was a black person who copied off of, sort of, or was inspired by Isaac Newton?
No.
Oh.
No, nobody. But, Isaac Newton invented the helicopter like 400 years before it was even built.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah, but remember when you were mentioning the barefoot thing?
Yeah, I do.
Well, yeah, I did want to tell you this because
walking barefoot is good for you.
Yeah, but I'll get into that on another call.
Okay.
So I wanted to talk to you about like sunlight because I've been studying it a lot.
Sunlight's good for you too, I heard.
Absolutely. And so it has like the full spectrum of light. And so infrared and near infrared light, the wavelengths are so long that it can like go right through your flesh and shine onto your skeleton.
Whoa.
And the light hitting your skeleton triggers all sorts of things. Immunological responses from the cells, and so it's hitting all of your flesh. And it increases like blood circulation, just amazing benefits from infrared light penetrating your skin. But if you're super fat, the sunlight never actually reaches your bones.
Wow.
And it affects every single cell, organs and stuff all differently. And then you've got two different types of UV light that come off of it. Well, there's three, but types A and B. So B is what generates vitamin D, but is also what burns and hurts your skin a lot and ages it. And UVA, when it hits your skin, it creates nitric oxide, which is the chemical that reduces blood pressure pretty greatly.
Right
and
on.
So in Australia, they did a study on people with skin cancer and people that avoided the sun. And the people with skin cancer were living longer than the people without skin cancer that avoided the sun. So even already having melanoma, just the fact that they got it by being in the sun reduced their chance of heart attack so greatly that they were outliving the people without cancer were just getting heart attacks and dying before the people with cancer were even dying.
Now, that is crazy, but did they control for the fact that people who are outdoors more and in the sun more are also getting more exercise, which is also good for you? Not that that's a real point, because you're outside, you're gonna exercise is good too. But did they control for the exercise?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I mean, yeah, there's always like
all
healthy. It's called like healthy lifestyle bias.
Right. Yeah.
It's really hard to control in epidemiological surveys.
Yeah, for sure. But that's cool. I definitely believe that sunlight is good for you. Moderation and everything. I know you mocked that term, that phrase before, but but nice, cool,
yeah,
man.
Could do a moderate dose of heroin.
Right.
There's So I mean, what was strange is that they tested all these a bunch of people that were had longer lifespans, and so they thought it was vitamin D because they all had these very high levels of vitamin D.
Yeah.
So then they did control for vitamin D, and they got no effect.
Oh.
So then they kept looking into it, and now the theory is that it's the UVA that's creating the nitric oxide from the sun that's actually making people live longer, and not the vitamin D that's produced by UVB.
Mind-boggling stuff. That's cool. So you can't get your supplements aren't helping you, suckers. Shout out.
You don't need any supplements, man. If you just eat beef, you'll be fine.
It's cool hearing from you, man.
Lamb. Yeah, and then I'll. So you know what an antioxidant is?
Vaguely, I know that it helps reduce the stuff that ages you and messes you up, right?
Well, it carries around an electron, and when something needs an electron, it will just take it. And when it takes the electron from something, it causes it to be susceptible to oxidation. So you take these antioxidants so that you have extra electrons to give to these cells and proteins and stuff that need it. So when you injure yourself, your white blood cells go around to those injured cells and essentially just destroy them, right? Like you're a dead cell, it just goes in there and destroys it down to its constituent parts.
Awesome.
Sorry, it's windy. And so it's funny that David said that, because that was like 1940, 1950 is like the pinnacle of human civilization. And after that, we've just been hurting ourselves with our own technologies.
Yeah.
So in the 1950s, they came out with plasticized rubber-soled shoes.
Okay.
And so now so the difference is when you stand on the ground barefoot, you'll have like a negative 300 millivolts. And when you put your shoes on and you're not connected to the ground, you're at like 100 positive millivolts.
Wow.
So negative millivolts means your body is just filled with electrons that are making it negatively charged. So essentially, if you're like standing on the bare earth, it's like eating all of the antioxidants you could ever want to eat.
Dang.
Instantly.
Shout out. Don't say
But most people don't ever ground.
Yeah.
Like really like an electronic grounding. Most people won't do that all day long. They'll get up off their mattress, walk around on their carpet, put on their shoes, go outside, sit down on their upholstered car seat, get out, go sit in their office, come back home. And it's really like the cause of a lot of inflammation, disease, and death is probably caused just plasticized rubber-soled shoes.
Wow. Thank you, CJ. Fascinating.
Eat meat, get sunlight, walk around barefoot, and fast.
Nice.
That's all you really need for perfect health. But anyway,
appreciate it as always, man.
Yeah. I just got done with the 12-day fast.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you want to do a fast with me next time?
No. I mean, maybe I shouldn't reject so quickly.
I want to try to do a 40-day biblical fast.
Like Jesus?
By the end of the year. Oh, lots of people did. Jesus once, Moses twice. Lots of people have done the 40-day fast.
That's wild, man.
The guy that I work with, he's like 70. He's done a 60-day fast. He's pretty cool. But anyway.
Thank you, CJ.
Peace out, man. Talk to you later.
All right. That's crazy. He knows so much. It's so, at least it sounds like he knows so much. I disavow because I don't know where he's getting it, but interesting. Oh, what's up, Lisa, our resident health expert, who says, "Oh, CJ." Nice. What's up, Lisa? She's all, wait, mummifying equals advanced civilization? Interesting. I have a few super chats, rumble rants, actually. Let me get to those over on these supers. What's up, Kevin? DJ T1, Mark's only shtick is hate for the so-called blacks. It is as tired as the flat earth, and Jesus ain't the Lord, says WT1. Mark's, thank you, sir. Talking about my caller. T-Fly Monkey 45. You named great black men raised around the whites. Name one great black man currently who lives in majority black culture, not from 1,000 years ago. Chief Boudalani. Something like that. I don't know. I don't know the black culture, so you know me. I don't know anything. T-flying monkey. But right on. The great black men of today were raised among whites, and they also love the whites. Thank you, sir. Base Nation James. Bond, James. Thank you, Base Nation. That's cool. WT1 asks, do you think there is an argument that the current occupants of Israel could be the Revelation 2:9s? And the Revelation 2:9 is the one that says, I know thy works, thy tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them who say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Synagogue of Satan is taken as like this bad thing that you're not supposed to say. Crazy, huh? Because there are people out there who like to lord that over Jewish people and stuff like that. I don't know, WT1, considering prophecy and the country was formed by the evil UN. Yeah, the UN formed Israel. Crazy, huh? The UN was never good. That's not right. But it did form Israel after World War II. I don't know about this prophecy thing. Some people say that all the prophecies of the Bible were already fulfilled in AD 70. Oops, pardon me. AD 70. 70 AD. The year of our Lord. So, I don't know and I don't care about this prophecy stuff. Prophecy, schmophecy. And I do know that stuff that people were doing and were accused of doing and stuff like that back then, people are still doing to this day. So it applies to people. And the stuff that applies, the criticisms that people ledge or lever or whatever aim towards the Jewish people, Jews, applies to them themselves, to they themselves in most cases, especially in terms of criticisms of the evil heart. You'll notice that the most passionate Jewish critics end up acting just like the ones that they hate. Sneaky, sly, accusatory, crazy, hateful, hating their fellow whites for not being pro-white enough or whatever. Or their fellow blacks and whites, because oftentimes it's blacks. I don't think so. As JLP has said, anybody who calls himself a Christian and hates is part of the synagogue of the devil, of Satan. So, Jews are not the only evil people. Thank you, sir, WT1. So I don't think that there is an argument for that. It's funny because they say, anyway, whatever. Redeemed Patriot, 117 gold pills. Neo, Gifted Shades, happy Friday. ML, right on, over there on pilled.net. Redeemed Patriot, thank you guys. That's cool. And a couple more super chats, a couple of coffees. And then I got to get to you guys. You callers, I do what I can. In fact, actually, before I get to the callers, I have to get to set up the Fallen State, which is going to be happening. Okay, so... Popcorn's Thump Cake bought a coffee. It amazes me that Mark suggested the idea of temporary authoritarianism for 4 years so that the Great White Hope, GWH, thank you for calling him that, could get things back in order. I think it just proves there are people who support the Constitution only when it's convenient If you're in favor of suspending it whenever you see fit, you don't truly adhere to its tenets. Mark's head would explode if Biden had floated the idea of wanting to be a dictator. Also, you, Hake, caught a stray this morning. Caller said we don't want weak people who've been given everything to join the military, and Jesse chimed in like Hake, laughing faces with tears coming out. That was funny. Somebody has to turn that into a short. I think it would be, you know, promote Hake while also knocking Hake. I thought of myself too. Putting Mark Lamont Hill as a guest idea to the top of the suggestion pile again. I doubt you'll invite him, but please consider it. While the Carmelo N-word lady topics are somewhat fresh, I think it would make for a good show. Thank you, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate this suggestion, and I just might. Calvin Thomas bought a coffee. Oh, sorry, Calvin. Calvin bought a coffee. I just listened to what you said on your show as far as black people in history. Actually, the Moors, who were black, they say, people say, he says, dark-skinned, brought philosophy and medicine to Europe. Oh yeah, the Muslims were like algebra. They made algebra, I heard. As well as new crops. Also agreeing with Ronnie, far as civilizations, Mali, for example, the rulers of Mansa Musa were the richest in human history, but it's never taught in school. Wonder why? Asks, or Calvin says Calvin Hammett. Calvin. I'm thinking the word is not coming to me. But he wonders, Calvin. I wouldn't arrive at any conclusion. I would just leave that wonder by itself, Calvin. Little Rock, man, happy early birthday, Marty. Bully for Jeff. I don't realize how sad his life truly is. Called JLP today. I heard that story of the homeless man who broke into the lady's house and was set, blah, 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 blah. All dirty. And, whatever. Hopefully it doesn't go the way of blah, blah, blah. What? You're getting messy. A white guy said the N-word to me the other night, so I punched him. What? Was it a manly punch or was it a effeminate punch? He later asked me, oh gosh, what in the world? JLP is a black artist, replace me with him. What? But darn, hey, don't cuss. Don't read this, kids. You said you appreciate popcorn and Ronnie's supers, but not mine. Message received. Jerk. You're so hateful and so mean. You're reading way too much into this stuff. But at least you're finally honest that you do hate me. And I don't. And I'm getting to the same point. Bye, broken heart, angry face, and sweating. Shocked. Right? Is that what that is? Well, thank you. Appreciate your coffee, as always. I'm shaking my head. And Hayden, I gotta get to you, man. Hayden in Texas. Pardon me, Hayden. I'm gonna prepare for the fallen state while you talk. And so pardon me if I get slightly distracted. Go ahead.
Okay, no, you're fine. Whose coffee was that just now?
Oh, never mind.
that was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yep.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, please. Please, Lord.
I wanted to say... I wanted to say Elijah. I enjoyed his call yesterday. He's definitely one of your best callers.
Nice.
And I love it whenever he gives you coffees and stuff. He's 100% correct in everything he says.
Elijah.
Cool.
Oh yeah, Elijah. That was cool hearing from him. Totally.
From California, I think it was.
Yep.
And then Ron, I literally just read Ronnie's thing. That's his way of saying that he has no, real examples of successful African countries. That was Mark's original question: successful African societies, and he just copped those up, and those were again just poor examples as usual. So.
Well, I don't know. Some people are saying those are okay. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, just like Mark said, we've never heard of them, and
right.
They don't compare to any European European country.
But that's, you're not being. I pardon me for criticizing you a touch, but you're not being very,
Sure.
very white, because a white would, whites tend to appreciate and take value from other cultures. And so I think that CJ is being more white than you, because CJ looked into it and he found that they actually did, I think it sounded like, have something of value. So,
well, I was just going based off of Mark's original question. The way he said it in the super chat was written wrong. He must have heard it the wrong way, or whatever. But I was just going based off of Mark's original question. That's all.
oh, okay. I mean, certainly nothing that I know of exists today, and people can cry victimhood about that, or just times of, with the changing of times, different people's ways, cultures sort of rise and fall in their quality. So
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah. So maybe I think there might have been, I don't know. Yeah. But those might all be kind of North African, not sub-Saharan, to the point that what's his name said. But anyway, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, like, we've never heard it, like, today. I mean, like, thousands of years ago, who knows? But, I mean, that's just such old history.
Yeah.
But, like, today, we have never heard of those places, these names. So, I mean.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool to hear about those things regardless, you know?
If it's true, again, we don't know if it's true or not. We got to, dig into it if it did happen thousands of years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, as of today, like, that's something I've, just like Mark said, I've never heard of those places before in my life.
Right.
Are they like villages or something? They're not empires, are
No,
they?
they're well, they were kingdoms. They were kingdoms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, whatever.
The reason I called in was I'm sure you heard of this whole thing about Elon, right?
Yeah, Elon Musk. He's gone after Trump, seemingly.
He is such a traitor.
You think so?
Such a traitor. Well, I mean, so I was getting alerts. So I typically do not get alerts from X. Usually I do whenever like something extreme happens, and his tweets were getting such big recognition yesterday.
Right.
He was saying Trump's on the Epstein list.
Yeah.
These are his words. He says that Trump should be impeached and JD should take his spot. I mean, this is like extreme. Like we could go to war. I know. This is like treasonous things he's saying right now.
Yeah. You think so? It's treasonous? I said yeah, but I'm coming back. You think it is treasonous?
I don't understand. I would definitely say so. Trump's former White House chief strategist, Steve Bannon, he told us before Trump's, before he was sworn in January, to watch out for Elon. He's evil. He's dangerous. And looking back at what he said in January before Trump was sworn in,
yeah,
he was 100% correct, because he's complete. People are coming up with theories saying this is 4D or 5D chess or whatever. I don't believe that, because I mean this is so real and so crazy for him to say this kind of stuff. I just don't see it being a game, as people are trying to speculate.
Yeah. Right. I don't know. It does seem like he is. It strikes me as though he's gone off the deep end for a moment, or for a few moments.
Sure.
We'll see. Yeah.
For sure.
I don't know if it's treasonous, though. I think he, a lot of people care about the country, and they get passionate, and then they end up turning on the fellow friends of the country.
Meaning Elon or Trump?
Like that's what I see Elon is doing right now. He's over passionate. Like I said earlier this week, before he even pulled this thing, when he was complaining about the big beautiful bill, which I probably maybe agree with him about the bill, but they've always been doing these way expensive bills and so-called pork-filled bills. It's not anything new, and it's not anything like relax. But I said earlier this week that Elon is unstable and Trump is stable. It doesn't mean that the unstable person is wrong in what he's saying necessarily all completely, but it just speaks to calm down, you know?
So do you agree with me that he cannot be trusted anymore, Elon?
I never really totally trusted him. So, yeah, I agree with you, but I don't turn on him. You know what I mean? Like, don't throw him away. You could, yeah. I don't even think that. I think treason is a bit strong for what he's doing, because those are just words. I don't even really. Do you care about the Epstein thing? I don't care about the Epstein thing.
I'm with you. No, not the Epstein thing. Not really. No.
So it's just
honestly no.
It's just there's a word called blowhard, but which I think is just a whole lot of hot air. He's blowing a whole lot of hot air. So I think that's all that is.
Because I mean, you know, right now he's on an island because, you know, as of last year, he was going so hard for Trump, and then now he's doing this whole stuff. I believe it's for business purposes. The reason he's doing
it could be. I don't know, but it could be.
But that's selfish, though. That's selfish, though. You know.
Yeah,
I mean,
but maybe what if Trump is helping him really? What if they're just playing?
See, that's what people are saying. That, but
I have no idea. It seems extreme and wild to be doing that, but whatever.
Exactly.
But I say Trump doesn't seem real bothered by it. He, he's lashed it back a bit, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And Elon seems to be a little bit more like serious when it's actually not that serious. And so that's my impression of it, is that Elon is taking it way too seriously, and Trump knows what's really serious is about saving the country, whereas Elon is going crazy, turning on Trump.
And for the record, I'm on Trump's side when it comes to this, but I mean he mentioned this during his campaign that he was going to do all this stuff, and then the only responding he's done is in response to what Elon said. But Elon's the one doing all the screaming and shouting right now and acting all crazy.
Yeah.
But it looks like Trump's just responding to it. He's doing it in a calm way. I got to give Trump credit for that.
Yeah.
But it looks like the majority of us are on Trump's side. I don't know about you, but the majority of what I'm seeing, people are on Trump's side when it comes to this whole outlash or whatever.
There's definitely people who are taking sides against Trump for Elon, though. I've seen more than a handful, and not necessarily just dumb liberals. There's some radical on our side people who are for Elon. Man.
Oh yeah.
Hayden.
But
go ahead. Last word.
Yeah, very quick. One, he's really close to Trump. But I won't mention it because he has his own show. But he's very close to Trump. He's saying per day now they've upped the deportations up to 3,000 illegals per day. So that's great news because it was much lower than that. Prior to
I heard that they're starting a major deportation thing, whatever. So that's cool. That is cool.
That's great news.
Yeah.
Make America great again.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Hake. Have a great weekend.
You as well. Okay, callers, I cannot get to you. Let me read my last super chats. Let's see. Commander Kim, if CJ is so smart, why is he calling Hake every day instead of employing our words, etard race, and creating wealth? Maybe he is. Eel is still real. Minnesota statute, something general duty to assist emergency situations, reasonable assistance without putting themselves in danger. That applies to cops. Also, D.C. and not Minnesota. Even Minnesota, you are not required to do in the middle of a riot. Always a moron. You are, Mark. Maybe just try and read the laws, read the reports, boomer. I got to get out of here. I have 30 seconds to close up shop. The Fallen State coming up next, guys. Alan, Jeff, William in California, the third, Elijah, and everybody else. Bye. Priority next week. Take care. The Fallen State coming up next. Peace.